everybody, my name is Cameron, and today I am here with Cuphead boss battle ranking. I put it in a tier list, but so how I did this was there's 19 bosses in total. There's 5 in World 1, 5 in World 2, there's 7 in World 3, and then Inkwell Hell has 2, which are King Dice and the Devil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these all... Hang on a second, I'm relocating my suit. Going to rank these boss battles just based on my personal preference. There's no difficulty ranking. There's no King Dice's mini bosses obviously aren't going to be in this video. I didn't feel like putting the time to rank those. I might rank those in a future video, but I do not plan on ranking them with all these bosses because they would actually be under all the bosses except one of them. So we're just going to get started. How I organize this is I'm going to put one in the S tier, and then let's see here. There's 19. That would be 18 divided by 4 would be 4.2. So what if I put... Why am I doing this math? Well, I put 5 in A, 5 in B, 4 in C, and 4 in D. I think that's it. Okay, so starting off, last place, the worst boss, in my utmost opinion, has to be Goopy Lagrande. Honestly, this should be everybody's opinion on how bad this boss is. This boss is the secondary tutorial boss, and honestly, to me, is a lot more boring than the root pack is. I don't enjoy this boss. I really don't. But that's just me, I guess, and that's just my opinion. People have their own. Okay, next boss on the list, number 18, is the root pack. I actually really like fighting the root pack. It's just that it's over so quickly. They're so easy. My battery power's on 15%. Hang on just a second. I'm gonna have to plug in my phone. There we go. Make sure it's still recording because it warned me about low battery. How it could affect the video, the screen recorder. That's pretty much it. Root pack, easy, tutorial boss, has more interesting characters than Goopy Lagrande, and that's why they're here. Next one I have is another Inkwell Isle 1 boss, and that's going to be Ribby and Croaks. These guys gave me a run for my money. I honestly think that these guys are the most difficult bosses in World 1, which makes me think that they should be higher. But the real difficulty comes in their expert mode, but I'm not ranking these guys based off difficulty, nor expert mode for that matter. But if I was ranking these guys on how their difficulty spike in expert mode, these guys would be up to the top. But anyways, the fight starts off with them doing their normal attacks, then Croaks turns into a fan, and Ribby starts throwing crap at you, and then they turn into a slot machine. That was a really weird turn of events. But either way, they're just another Inkwell Isle 1 boss. Stepping out of Inkwell Isle 1 for a quick fine minute, we're going into Inkwell Isle 2 with Baroness von Baumont. No, you're in front of Ribby and Croaks. This boss isn't fun. That's all I have to say. This boss is not fun. I thought it would be fun with... it looks fun in the videos. I thought it would be fun with the random bosses that you could get, but honestly, it's just not fun. The bosses, no matter what happens, they all feel the same. I find it kind of hard to get an A, like at least an A- on her, because the parries are sometimes hard to get, and parrying the mint things that the castle spits out towards the end, I don't actually think count, but I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't think they've ever counted for me. Who knows? They might. If you parry it enough, I don't know. Okay, stepping out of Inkwell Isle 2. Oh, touch here to swipe. Stepping out of Inkwell Isle 2 and moving all the way up to Inkwell Isle 3. We have the introductory boss to Inkwell Isle 3 at the number 16 spot. Not 16, 15, which is Rumor Honeybottoms. This boss is the same almost the same exact feeling of Baroness von Bauma. This boss battle frustrates me to no end. I don't find it all that fun. That's all I have to say about it, honestly. It's just not a great boss battle, in my opinion. Keeping myself in Inkwell Isle 1 for now, I am putting Sally's stage play up at the number 14 spot. This boss battle, you don't hear much about this boss battle at all. I feel like this boss battle is honestly forgotten about a lot of people who watch Cuphead content, but haven't played the game. But she's just, Inkwell Isle was weird in the fact that Inkwell Isle 2 stepped up the difficulty so much, in my opinion, from Inkwell Isle 1. Like, I was having trouble at first with Inkwell Isle 1. I'm like, god dang, that's hard. Wonder how hard the ones in Inkwell Isle 2 are going to be. And it took me so long to beat it. Oh my gosh. But, then Inkwell Isle 3 introduced some of the most difficult bosses, but also some of the easiest, unless you compare them to World 1, and Sally's stage play is possibly the easiest boss battle in Inkwell Isle 3. Next up on the list, I have, touch here to swipe, I have Phantom Express, staying in Inkwell Isle. This is where I start actually liking these bosses. The Phantom Express is extremely fun. I'm not ranking these guys based on music, but if I was, Phantom Express would probably be high up there, and the music honestly just gets me pumped for the battle. I expected Cuphead the game to be good, which it is. It's a really good game, but what I didn't expect to be so good, like as good as it was the music, in all honesty. But the Phantom Express, this boss would be fine if it, well, not only is it super easy for the pre-boss from Inkwell Hell, but the first phase also is just brutally annoying to me. But the second and third phases are so unbelievably easy, and the last phase is my favorite phase just because it's like the perfect set of difficulty. The first phase just kind of ruins the boss for me, and the third one and second one I guess do too because of how easy they are. But still, I do like these bosses more than previous bosses on the list. Okay, I am still in Inkwell Isle 3, because next up I have Captain Brimey Beard. This boss was actually really easy. It still is really easy, but I'm talking about it was surprisingly easy when I first played it. Like, it took me like 10 minutes to beat, aside from Calla Maria taking me literally like days. Maybe it's because at that point I was so frustrated with Cuphead I was playing it for like 10 minutes at a time then rage quitting, but you know how it is. But Captain Brimey Beard starts off, and he actually has interesting phases because there's bars that split up the phases, but nothing actually changes except for him adding like a new attack. The first phase, he starts off, the barrel's there, and he's shooting eels at you. Second phase, he starts summoning all his creatures while shooting eel guts at you along with the barrel. Third phase, along with all the attacks from before, the ship starts spitting cannonballs at you. Then, fourth phase, ship get angry, and you see the captain in the background just fall and plummet into the water. Honestly, the last phase is the worst one, simply because, first of all, the ship has literally no health. You could kill the ship in 2 seconds. I'm not even joking. Use your super on it, you shoot a few bullets at it, it's dead. But its attacks just aren't that hard, especially if you have the invisible dash. But what attacks are hard to dodge if you have the invisible dash? I can't talk. But either way, this boss is honestly really fun. Okay, heading back all the way to Isle of One. We have Hildeberg coming up in the B section. Hildeberg is really fun. I think she is a great introductory to the airplane bosses, but being that she is the introduction to the airplane bosses, she was likely to be the worst of them. I honestly think airplane bosses are so much fun. I know a lot of people hate them, a lot of people love them, a lot of people are mixed on them because certain bosses just seem unfair, and airplane bosses are often the most difficult bosses. Like an airplane two of the airplane bosses are the two most difficult bosses in this whole game. Calla Maria and Dr. Cal's robot. But Hildeberg is a great introduction, and honestly, out of all the bosses in Inkwell Island, gave me the most trouble. Hildeberg literally caused me to delete Cuphead, and then I got back into it again and started playing it again after a few months of having it deleted. Like, I couldn't get past Inkwell Island 1. I don't know what it was with me, and then I came back a certified Cuphead veteran and beat the game while not being a certified Cuphead veteran because I haven't beat the game yet. Okay. Honestly, just a really great introduction to airplane bosses. Okay, coming in at the 10th place spot, we are going all the way to the end with the Devil. I actually have the video for this uploading right now. And it says in the description, this video made me mad. Not the description, the title. Because I wanted to get so desperately an A- at least on the Devil, but I just couldn't. I always get excited to play this boss, but every time I play him, he just makes me so unbelievably freaking mad. He's the only boss that I say is legitimately unfair to anybody, because he shouldn't be allowed to put stuff in the only places you can land, which is exactly what he does. I get that he's the final boss, I get that he's supposed to be hard, but the fact that you put something in the middle of where someone has to land, so they have no choice but to take damage when they're trying to attain a high ranking, it's unfair. That's what unfair is. And that's what unfair will always be in this game. And the Devil, in my opinion, is the most unfair boss in Cuphead, which is why he's down here. Following the Devil is right-hand man in pursuit, King Dice. I honestly just find this boss battle a little bit tedious. Above the Devil is where I start really, really liking these bosses. Like, D is where I don't like them. C is where I kind of like them, spelled with a C. And B is just okay. It's okay with a B on it. That's pretty much it. B stands for better. But King Dice, his boss is just tedious, and I'm not really good with the timing of the dice, but his mini bosses are pretty fun, at least some of them, but some of them also I try to avoid my darndest. I like how they give you extra health, because if they didn't give you chances for extra health, obviously the boss would be awful. And King Dice's last phase is honestly fun, because one of my favorite things to do in Cuphead is parry. One complaint I have with King Dice, just throwing it out there, I don't really care for the music that much. Honestly, I don't like that King Dice music that his mini bosses have. I like the music in the King Dice phase itself, but not in the mini boss. But not ranking these based on music, as I said. Okay, taking the number 8 place, we are going back to Inkwell Isle 2, and we are putting Beppy the Clown up here at the number 8 spot. This boss was so hard at first. I could not get past his second phase. I got past his first phase so easily, and I could not get past the second phase. The second phase is honestly my favorite. I love the second phase. I love dodging. This boss, I think, is actually extremely fun on expert mode, but we're not talking about that. The phase that I found was the hardest was the last phase, because I didn't know that you can actually shoot and kill those penguins. I don't know what was going through my head that you couldn't shoot and kill those penguins. My strategy is to use the roundabout the whole boss battle, except for the second phase and possibly the third phase. The third phase kills the fight. I actually despise the third phase with every fiber of my being. I just feel like when you had to jump on that cart, the fact that some things, especially the yellow horse, can stop you from jumping, it just kind of sucks, you know? But the fourth phase, for some reason, some crazy thought went through my head that you couldn't kill the penguins. So what I do is I jump down between whichever penguins are on the end and the one that are standing next to them, and I use my super in the long direction. If I'm on the left, I use my super in the right. If I'm on the right, I use my super in the direction left. And that kills both of the penguins. You know, the train or possibly the roundabout gun will take out the final one, and I'll proceed to kill Beppy. But either way, this boss battle is extremely fun. And I'm just saying, if I was ranking this list based on music, he's number 1. His music is the best. Okay, jumping up to my girlfriend's personal favorite boss, we have Cagney Carnation at the number 7 spot. This guy is just such a delight to fight against. I love fighting against Cagney Carnation. That's why he's so far up here. And the music's good. I see myself almost every day doing the dance, making a joke about it with my friends who also do the dance, sometimes as a joke. Cagney Carnation's dance has become somewhat of a quote-unquote large meme in the Cuphead fandom and fan base. He's just honestly really fun. I find his first phase more fun than his last phase, but his last phase is also really fun. I literally have absolutely no problem with this phase. I mean, not this phase, this boss. Sorry, I was doing something. He's just extremely fun. Love this boss fight, but there is 6 that I love more. And actually, we're going, well, finishing off Inkwell Aisle 1, now let's put another one from number 2. Starting off the A section, which is the acceptable tier. I don't want to call it awesome. I'll call it awesome. Awesome phase. Starting off this phase, this tier, we have the Jimmy the Great. The Jimmy the Great is often what people say is the hardest boss. I definitely think he is the second hardest. I mean, not the second hardest, the third hardest airplane boss fight, and fourth hardest in Inkwell. Second hardest in Inkwell Aisle 2. He is a very difficult boss and did give me the most trouble of the first 3 introductory bosses to Inkwell Aisle 2, in my opinion. There is one boss that gave me more trouble than the Jimmy the Great, and I'm sure that a lot of people could tell me who that is in Inkwell Aisle 2. He's just all around super fun. His first phase, you get randomized. The only one of the first phase that I don't like is the cats. I could do the trash, or the treasures that come out of treasure chests. I could also do the swords, fine, but I just can't do the cats for some reason. The second phase was just the pillars. It's almost like the grenades were made for that phase. And the third phase is really easy. I love the fourth phase where he turns into a Cuphead puppet and his hat comes after you. That phase is really fun. The fourth phase is also pretty difficult. I find it hard to maneuver around those pyramids, but alas, I did A+ this guy somehow. Okay, taking the number 5 spot has Wally Wobbles. Get behind the Jimmy thief, please. Thank you. Wally Wobbles, the second airplane boss in Inkwell Aisle 2. This guy gave me a run for my money on the first time I played him, because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know that you could wall hug to avoid the eggs, which makes it a little bit easier. His second phase is also really easy now. I was the idiot who stayed shrunken the whole time through the second phase, where he shoots feathers at you. Third phase, the boss battle kind of loses me. The kid, where his kid fights you, it honestly just kind of loses me. It feels like it runs on for way too long. And honestly, that's probably the phase that tacks on the most time to your all-around score. Fourth phase is also okay, I guess. I mean, it's honestly... Okay, fine. It's my least favorite phase. It's just there, and it goes by super fast. And that's pretty much it. But this boss is also really fun. Actually... Never mind. I thought about changing my ranking for the Jimmy the Great and Wally Wobbles because of how close they are, but nah, they're good. I like these. I like them equally. How about that? They are tied for the 4th and 5th place. Okay. I mean, not 4th and 5th, 6th and 5th and 6th. Okay, taking the number 4 spot, just barely edging themselves out of 3rd place is Calla Maria. And I'm not putting her this high just because she's hot. I honestly find this boss battle really fun. I think her third phase is kind of dookie, in all honesty, but her second phase is very fun, and her first phase is extremely fun. And airplane bosses are just some of my favorite. As you see, actually 4 of my top 6 bosses are airplane bosses, and the only one who's down, like, kind of far is Hildeberg. But that's because she was meant to be the worst airplane boss. She's the tutorial airplane boss. But honestly, she's just really fun. I found her, I mean, obviously she's unfair. Like, when I said Adele was the only boss I call unfair, I actually am changing that to 2 because she is unfair because she can immobilize you. Oh, hang on. She can completely immobilize you by turning her stone. There are ways to avoid it, but they don't always work out as well as you want them to, you know? Okay. This was a very hard top 3 for me to place. But I think we got the appropriate ranking here. At number 3, we have Werner Vermin, not Werner Werman, Werner Vermin. He's German. This boss is so unbelievably fun. These last 3 were so hard to rank above one another. I was sitting there for quite a few minutes thinking, it's like, oh my god, do I put him above him or him above him? And it's like, oh no. He's just over around. I have so much nostalgia for Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry was one of the cartoons that made up my childhood. I freaking love Tom and Jerry. I will watch Tom and Jerry literally anytime. It's amazing. It's glorious. Tom and Jerry is just... Tom and Jerry is just all around great. And this is the Tom and Jerry boss. The first phase is okay. I find the cherry bombs to be kind of frustrating to avoid. I love the second phase with the bottle caps. That's really fun. The third phase is my favorite, but often everybody says it's the worst, but I just really like it because it's a cat. And I like cats. I just find this boss battle extremely fun, and I was super excited to play him. Okay. Between these two, I have to put Dr. Cal's robot in second place. He's our runner-up! The most difficult boss. I love Dr. Cal. It was actually just about 20 minutes ago that I had Dr. Cal as my favorite boss, and then I thought about it, I'm like, wait, what if Grim Matchstick really is above Dr. Cal? And then it hit me. I replayed them both a few times, and Grim Matchstick became my favorite. Because, not only because of I just think Grim Matchstick is so fun. But we're talking about Dr. Cal. Dr. Cal is the most difficult boss in the game. He is dreadfully hard. Well, he was at first. Yeah, see, this starts off, you have a robot with 3 hit points that each let out a different attack. The thing is, when you destroy one of those hit points, an even stronger attack emerges. If you destroy the chest, his arms will come out doing something stupid. If you destroy the air vents, the worst part of this whole freaking boss, the homing bombs that follow you, I freaking hate those things. Those things caused me to rage quit so many times. Will come out if you destroy the vents or the stomach first. The laser, he'll start shooting nuts and bolts at you from his mouth, pretty much. His second phase, obviously, is the worst one. It's also the shortest. You just have to attack his head. But he'll also be laying out homing bombs as you do that. The third phase, Dr. Eggman finally reveals himself, as one guy on YouTube said. But anyway, Dr. Cow reveals himself, brings out a Chaos Emerald from his robot, who for some reason has a hand in its mouth, and starts shooting out. And this phase is complete and utter bullet hell. This phase is the most bullet hell that Cuphead has ever been. This phase is honestly really difficult. You can stay normal size while doing this phase, but then the walls of electricity start coming down. God knows where those came from, probably some body part on his robot. But those are also fairly difficult to avoid. But either way, I love this boss. And he is just extremely fun, and I will play him anytime. But taking the number 1 boss, I had to give it to my boy, Grim Matchstick. This guy is so freaking fun. I love Grim Matchstick. immediately from the get-go, Grim Matchstick was a immediate charm. I finally had beaten Beppy the Clown. After, well, I beat Baroness von Bonbon, and then the next day I beat the Jimmy the Great, then the Clown. Actually, no, I beat the Clown first. Yeah, because I remember I was in the car with my grandma, and my mom was driving. We dropped my grandma off at the house, and we left to a different house, where I was staying that night. And I remember beating the Clown while grandma was in the car, but the genie when she wasn't in the car. So that had to be that. So I think I moved from the Clown to the Jimmy the Great, honestly, because I was scared of the dragon. No, I really did. I did beat Grim Matchstick before the genie. I should have beat Grim Matchstick last. Either way, this boss battle was an immediate charm. I ultimately defeated Wally Wobbles last. But this boss battle, the second I got in there, he was immediately fun. I died a few times on his first phase because I didn't fully get the gist of it. The thing that kept killing me, it wasn't really killing me, it was actually making me restart it, was his freaking tail. I couldn't stand his freaking tail. The music was great, and the charm was the fact that each time I lost to him, I didn't get frustrated. His second phase is honestly one that everybody says is the most difficult. I don't know why I didn't really see that. I mean, I see it as the second most difficult, but the first phase is the easiest, obviously, but the third phase is honestly the most difficult. And the third phase is absolute, utter hell. It's not bullet hell. It's not inkwell hell. It's not the devil's hell. It's literal hell. Oh my god. This phase. It's so hard to see with the rain in the back. The music picks up like it's so good. The music fits this boss so well. And the three phases, you can't shoot him with the bullets. Honestly, his fire with your bullet drops will explode. His head turns into a gigantic flamethrower. It's awesome. This boss battle is the best. It's my favorite. It'll always be my favorite. I can talk forever about my favorite. But either way, that's my ranking. So, from least favorite to favorite, we have Goopy Lagrande, the Root Pack, Ribby and Croaks, Baroness von Bonbon, Rumor Honeybottom, Sally State Bay, Captain Express, Brimey, Captain Brimey, Hildeput, The Death King Knight, Music Sound, Cagney Carnation, Law, Jimmy the Great, Wally Wobbles, Calla Maria, Werner Vermin, Dr. Cow's Robot, and finally, Grim Matchstick. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you agree with my rating. Bye-bye.